So thankful to be with Jace, Jeff, Joel. We are down here on the Seminole Indian Reservation in South Florida, just outside of Okeechobee. This has been a awesome, long, exciting, tiring day. That's a lot of words, right?
I'm sure none of us look tired right now.
It's only 11:31 at almost midnight.
It's been sweet. Today we started out early this morning outside of Delray Beach, going iguana hunting with two young men in our ministry, and these young men harvested. Was the number 32, Joel?
32
iguanas. I think one was about the length of the boat.
Yeah,
55
inches, including the tail.
Yeah, a 5 or 6 foot iguana in Florida. That's a good size iguana. That's a trophy.
Monster.
Yeah, Python Cowboy said 8+ years, maybe even older than that, which I thought was just crazy. I didn't know they grew. I didn't know they lived that long.
That's like a 220-inch buck.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a trophy.
That's crazy.
So, what's your takeaway on iguana hunting this morning, Jace?
For me, that was probably the most exciting hunt I've ever been a part of, for sure. It was
Any
cool.
hunting?
All the dynamics, yeah. I mean, outside of, I love deer hunting. But other than that, no, yeah. The most exciting.
That's good. What do you think, Joel?
For me, they're fast. I mean, they're quick. You got to be on them, but it's a whole lot of fun, and it's active. We talked a lot, laughed a lot.
I thought they were going to be real docile.
I know, that's what we were hoping for.
That's why, yesterday when we were talking about how many we were going to shoot, I honestly thought, no problem, they're going to lay on the side. We're going to shoot 50 of them. That's going to be it. But then when I saw them start running and diving in the water and hiding in cracks, I was like, oh, my gosh, we're going to be lucky to get 5.
It looked like Roadrunner on the Looney Tunes.
It was crazy.
I think those things are fast.
Yeah,
And they get on those hind legs, son. They just booking it.
Those things move faster than ducks.
Did you see when they hit the top of the water? They literally were skimming across the top of the water before they went under, too.
They walk on water.
Yeah.
Jesus lizards.
Jesus lizards.
Yeah.
That one lizard looked at you and said, Jace, come to me. Take a step out of the boat.
Take a step out, ye of little faith.
Yeah, those things were
awesome.
fast.
And they're good divers.
Yeah.
Or belly floppers.
Belly floppers.
Those big ones, they belly
Some
flop.
of
A lot going on too with the dogs, and two shooters per boat, and iguanas everywhere. There was a lot going on in that hunt.
Yep.
2 boats next to each other.
And we're hunting right next to the main turnpike.
The Florida Turnpike.
Turnpike.
We had semis and cars. And
Thousands of cars passed us today.
you
While
could
we
see
were doing
Starbucks and Home Depots in the distance.
Workers on one side, 50 yards away.
Yep.
These people don't realize there's 6-foot iguanas,
that. They leave their dogs
15
outside.
yards.
They have no idea.
15 yards off the highway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Python Cowboy. I can do a clip from it.
Yeah. So, Jace, you got introduced to Python Cowboy. His name is Mike.
Yeah. Mike Kimmel is his
Mike
name.
Kimmel, how many years ago?
2 years ago.
Very cool. Man, I jumped on as soon as you told me about him. I jumped on and started following him and started showing my boys a lot of his clips. He had a dog named Otto. I think that was his number one go-to, and so most of his clips had to do with Otto. But man, just one of those influencers that when you kind of get on and follow him, you're just like, man, it'd be awesome to be on a boat with that guy. So that was neat today. I don't think Kamar and Trey knew him prior to getting in the truck driving down here, but then they watched some of the videos, so they were excited to have that opportunity. Yeah,
he's a big influencer.
Yeah,
big following.
Yeah.
Python Cowboy.
And it's been cool just listening to a story on the boat today. His progression of what he's doing now. I mean, he said I used to literally with a pole pull iguanas out of trees and sell them to pet stores, and now he's doing.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he told us.
What?
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
That's what he told us.
Sell iguanas to pet stores?
That's what he said back in the day. That's
Man,
what
I
he
bet
used to
pet
do.
store owners hate us today.
Well, I don't think iguanas are a hot commodity anymore. I think those are like a dime a dozen. Yeah,
The pet stores are full now.
yeah. They say shoot them.
Yeah.
Shoot them now. But
Yeah, they
But
say
he
they're
was
eating
great.
all the crops in South Florida. And they can go after people's pets too. from what I
yeah,
hear.
actually, Mike said that he has a meeting this coming week with a local farmer, And part of what's going on is that these iguanas are known to not only eat the crop, but they also pass on salmonella to some of the produce around here.
Really?
And he said some of the growers that he's meeting with, I mean, it's actually a really big meeting because like it's coming down from like the USDA that there has to be some things put into place. And he's going to probably be brought in even for some of that maintenance on farms and different things like that. So that's a whole different element.
Oh, you're talking that can
Yeah.
affect millions and millions of
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah, it's a
of-
whole different
of
element.
business in the farming world.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
Sounds like a government contract.
I was going to say he may need a ministry to come alongside of
Yeah.
him and
Yeah.
do a little bit more of
Couple
that
weeks.
with him.
Yep.
Every
So-
couple weeks.
Hammer them down.
Hammer him down. Yeah. Yeah.
That was an awesome day.
Yeah. I was proud of our boys. I mean, Trey and Kamar, they've been to the ranch and they've
Yeah.
shot, but there was just a lot going on. I was proud of them.
Yeah,
They
they
did
did
well.
really well. They
Yeah.
even dove in the water.
Yeah.
After those
The first time was not the best
No.
execution, but they
No.
did dive in the water and get some iguanas
Yeah.
by hand.
Trey said, "Hold my gun. I'm going in."
He did.
He did.
He went in.
And I tell you what, it's I love when people hunt with dogs, especially. I grew up seeing a little bit of dove hunting and seeing dogs retrieve doves or going quail hunting and just seeing those dogs point. But today it was really cool just to watch those dogs work.
Yeah.
To me, that was just as much fun as seeing the harvest
cool.
of the
Yeah.
iguanas as seeing those dogs work. And
Yeah.
just the intelligence of,
Yeah.
of those animals.
And he was training the two on our boat. So Blue was Otto's son, and then the other one, Trouble, was in training too. So it was funny. Like they would just jump off the boat from time to time, and he'd have to drag them back in the boat. And then y'all's dogs seemed to be like
was
pretty
awesome.
experienced though.
Yeah.
Just kind of sat there and
Yeah,
waited.
looking at all the other dogs like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Crazy dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
It
cool.
was good.
So much fun.
Yeah, and anybody that's watching can book a hunt with him.
Yep.
Or they can sponsor some kids to
Yeah.
some fatherless kids through IAM to be able to go do that hunt
Yeah.
again.
Very
Give some
professional.
other
That
kids.
would be a blessing.
Yeah, very, very worth it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I would say if nobody has ever iguana hunted before,
it.
it's a hunt of a lifetime.
It's a hunt
Yeah,
of a
it's-
lifetime.
it's
It
worth
was, and I've done a lot of hunting. I've done a lot of deer hunting, hog hunting, been bird hunting, duck hunting, you name it, and even got to harvest a bear here several weeks ago. But I would say that iguana hunt today, just the fellowship,
Mm-hmm.
the
You ain't got to be
dogs,
quiet.
Nope.
You get to
the-
laugh.
I mean, it was, yeah.
Listen to music.
You can even wear cologne. You want to smell good on the boat.
Yeah.
If there's
I didn't, but yeah,
you don't
I
have
guess
to put
you could.
you don't have to put
I
war.
wonder what that smell was.
You don't have to wear camo. You don't have to put war paint on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, it was yeah. I mean, you're using a high powered air rifle.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's very safe. And but man, it was just fun. The fellowship was fun.
Yep.
The harvest was fun.
I felt like I was in high school again with my best friends,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing some,
It was
Yeah.
cool.
hunting.
And then we pulled over and had our subs there next to
old
each
Publix
other and
subs.
just
Yep.
that was a good time.
Publix, if you ever want to sponsor us with
Yeah.
subs,
Yeah.
Subs.
Yeah, we
For
give
the-
shout out
for the
public
next
subs
50
are
years of
one of the
ministry, we'll
best.
take subs for the next 50
That's
years.
exactly right.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
It'll be good.
So,
Some
yeah.
of us need some subs.
So yeah, those of you that may think we're crazy for going on a iguana hunt, it was awesome. And so
It was really doing Florida a benefit,
Yeah.
conservation wise.
for sure, and we're going to eat up some of those iguanas. And they have a similar taste to an alligator.
Yep.
Not quite as much meat, but it's they say the legs are kind of like a frog leg, and then the tail is a lot like a gator.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
the
We're gonna do that
larger
up
the
tomorrow.
iguana, the more meat you have.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. We got all the ingredients to see what we can do tomorrow.
That's it. See how
From
good
canal to table.
We'll see what we can do.
From canal to table.
That's good. There you go.
Canal to
Yeah.
table.
Stamp it.
That's it. Good job, Jeff.
Yep. That dog will hunt.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Fun time.
So yeah, just wanted to share that with you about our day. But the topic we want to talk about on this podcast, really think. I mean, you look at today, guys, and one word that really comes to mind on this hunt today was masculinity. I mean, masculinity. Just seeing us be men out there and doing man things, guy things, and I don't think we hear that word a lot in this country anymore. What do you guys think that word means? What's masculinity to you? That can go a lot of different directions.
Yeah. Well, I I think there's a lot of things that it's not. I think the world will tell you if you own a huge house or you own a lot of cars or you have these women, that's what masculinity is. I think those are a lot of things that it's not, right? I think first and foremost, I mean, for us, certainly sitting at this table, I mean, you have to be able and willing to bend your knee to Jesus, to be considered a man, period. I just believe that, right?
Yep.
Because part of being a man is being someone who's willing to surrender. And if you're going to be willing to surrender, you might as well surrender to the one and only that deserves it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think that's first and foremost where it has to start. Otherwise, you're just kind of, treading water, just trying to figure it out day by day,
Yep.
Yeah. You look at how many fatherless youth are being raised by women in society today. And those women are heroes to us because they're trying to play the role of a man. They shouldn't have to do that. God didn't design it that way. God designed a home to have a mother and a father with children. That's how it's designed to be. And unfortunately, you look at our communities across America today, and in your large inner cities, you've got, almost 70% of kids are from a broken home where there's not a father in the home. And even rural communities today are getting close to 50%. And so what does that mean? That means a lot of young men, a lot of boys are being raised by women. They're being raised by grandmothers, being raised by mothers, they're being raised by aunts, raised up by neighbors. And we thank you, women, for what you offer. I mean, you ladies are amazing, but there are some things that boys need. They need masculinity. They need to do boy things. They need to do guy things that, the way the Lord designed them. I think a boy needs to know how to make a campfire. I think a boy needs to know how to use a pocket knife. I think a little boy needs to know how to hold a fishing pole and catch a fish. How to shoot its first BB gun, how to harvest a deer, how to harvest a turkey, and how to get dirty in the yard, how to use a shovel, how to pull weeds, how to use a weed eater, how to use a blower, how to get on a zero turn, how to use a push mower. Just some of the little things, how to patty out a burger and grill a hamburger on the grill.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a lot of little things. We could sit here and go over a lot more things. How to wash a truck, how to change a tire, how to fix a clogged sink in the house. We can go down a to-do list, that's a mile long, but a lot of young men today are not being taught those things, and that's kind of scary. Let me ask you guys this question. If we were let's say we were driving down the road today and we lost a tire. We got a flat tire. Would you want a guy from Yale or Harvard changing that tire? Or would you rather have a guy that runs an electrical company or is a welder or a plumber changing your tire? Tell me which one would you would pick?
Tradesman.
I'd rather have a tradesman all day long. And we're losing out on tradesmen in this future, And nothing wrong with a guy that goes to an Ivy League school or prep school or whatever. But at the end of the day, I want to see those guys that know how to get their hands dirty.
Yep.
I do see a trend. I don't know about y'all, but I see a trend with our boys of being excited about trade. But I think the demographic that we work with, it's all motivated by money. We're going to be able to make money fast.
Yep.
And I think, I'm always trying to point those boys back, like you're learning invaluable skills that are never be taken away. If you decide to go into plumbing, doesn't matter what the economy's doing, people are going to need plumbers. You go into HVAC or you go into electrical, same thing. Doesn't matter what the economy's doing. You're learning invaluable skills that can't be taken away. And so trying to get those boys to reorient their mind that making money and being able to provide is a good thing. It all comes from God. But think about the skills that'll never be taken away.
That's good.
And that's important,
Man. So outside of those things, when it comes to what does God's word say about being a man? I know we have some scriptures we may want to share on that. But I think it's important that world success is different from God's success.
Yep.
And we can talk about that. But what are some scriptures that come to your heart today that you think are important, for those to hear?
What about you, Jace?
You want me to say it?
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
Take the thunder.
You're the man.
Yeah. I think one that, we try to instill into the young men in our program is 1 Corinthians 16 verses 13 and 14. It just says, be watchful, stand firm in the faith. act like men, be strong, and let all that you do be done in love.
Amen.
That's 1 Corinthians 16 verses 13 and 14. And I think those 5. I like what Jeff said. Off camera, those are pillars of manhood. And obviously, there's more that we can go into, but those are 5 foundational things that really, in the conversations I've had with young men, they have a hard time even if you say, "Hey, what does it mean to be watchful?"
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, like, be on the lookout.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not really. Let's dive into it. But understanding that is so important, and not just looking at it at a surface level, so that we're not living our life at a surface level.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I think what I've enjoyed about studying these verses this year on campus too, and taking those pillars, it's kind of a foundation, so it progresses on it. So the first one being watchful. We talk about men having vision, and if your vision is not aligned with God's vision for your life, then standing firm in the faith, being a man that takes a minority position, is not going to be possible. You're not going to take a minority or stand firm in the faith if you don't have a vision. And then you go on to the next one, that men are team players. Well, you're not going to want to fight for people around you if you're not willing to step out and be a minority, or step out in a minority position, because you're just going to hang out with people that are going to influence you instead of you influencing them. And it goes on. And the last one is men being protectors. And man, that's way out in left field if you haven't been walking through these other pillars. So it's been cool just to see the boys see the light go off, and come up with even some goals on their own. This year I've had so many boys after this first 9 weeks, now they come into the second 9 weeks and they're like, man, like I see where I dropped the ball and I didn't have goals set there, and now I'm setting these goals for the next 9 weeks. I want to be a man of vision. So it's been neat to kind of see the light bulb go off.
That's awesome.
Yep. And one of the other pillars is men work.
Yeah.
We're called to do hard things.
Yep.
That's what we were built to do.
We work hard.
Talking about masculinity, get ready to do tough things. You're gonna have suffering, you're gonna have trials, but those are the things that's gonna create you to be the man that God's called you to be. And that's huge.
Yeah, and the Bible talks a lot about that.
Yep.
If a man doesn't want to work, he's not going to be able to feed his family.
That's right.
It's not just going to affect him, it's going to affect other people in his circle.
It goes back to protecting his family.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
And that's cool, even if we're working with boys that are 6th graders, or they're 12 years old. I mean, helping them to understand that building those foundations of a good work ethic now, whether it's at home with chores with your mom, or if it's in the classroom, or even if it's on the football field or the baseball field, being able to build those now is going to put you light years ahead when you're 17, 18, 19 years old and you move into the workforce and whatnot. And I think we're lucky to be able to show kids that.
Yep.
Because I think most kids just think, well, when I turn 18, I'm going to learn how to work. So right now I'm just going to play video games and hang out.
No.
That ain't going to happen,
You gotta be intentional now.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's important that, those, if you want your kids boys to grow up to be strong men of God and be warriors and be masculine, we've got to give them the right tools. What do you guys think are good tools to put in the toolbox? What a single mother or the world that's asking today, this, what things do you think we should be teaching, these young men as late elementary, middle school, even high school, like obviously the earlier start, I think they're able to start creating some strong habits that'll help them long term.
Yep.
What are some things that you think are valuable? Obviously we know the Bible, we know, being in the Word, we know having a prayer life. We know serving. I think moms, we encourage you to have your kids in a local body church. I've been in a youth group. I think that helps quite a bit
Connected.
too. Yeah. What are some other things you think that are real important, for them to have in a good toolbox?
I think they need to know how to get dirty. Honestly, not
Be on inside on video games.
Yeah, not on inside on video games, for sure. Getting out there in the woods, even if, I had to learn how to tie my own fishing line, tie my hook and all that stuff. I messed up, stabbed my fingers, all the things, get some dirt under your nails. And even if you don't have that man in your life, that mentor or a godly man or whatever you want to call it, and you're a single mom listening to this and you don't have that church community yet, man, just let them get outside and let them, they might break a bone. That's part of it. That might happen. you can break a bone driving down the road, but just let them, they don't always just have to be safe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Let them be risky, let them get dirty.
That's good. That'd be risky. That's good.
Let them climb trees,
Yeah.
play in flower beds,
Mm-hmm.
jump on trampolines, shoot hoops, and
Yep.
have a basketball goal.
Yeah, I was going to say sports
Skateboard.
too. I mean, you mentioned sports a second ago, getting them on a team. I mean, I know every kid's not made to play sports, but from what I see with kids with their phones and video games, they think they're connected, but then when you do this right here and you put them around other kids, they don't hardly know how to have a conversation. And I think if anything, just getting them on a soccer team, a baseball team, a football team, a basketball team, even if they're not made to play sports, just to learn what it means to be around other people, to have those conversations. I think that's important. And then I think coaches, I mean, they have such a vital role to be able to reach into so many kids on their team. So I would say as for a mom that's listening, like if you're going to get your kid on a team, go meet the coach.
Yeah.
Like make sure that the coach is talks the right way, is teaching the right things, has good language, is a good example, because that coach is going to have a heavy influence on your child too.
Yep,
But I think getting involved in sports is a big one. I mean, that was huge for me.
And I challenge you moms that are listening. Some of you may say, I don't have the money, for travel ball, or I don't have the money to even do a local city league team. A lot of churches, and I know we have a couple of churches in Western Kentucky that have Upward and then Straight Up ministries at our church, and then I know there's some leagues.
Church of the One, it's got a good league. Yep.
There's a few.
No limits. There's quite a few different church leagues. There's Free Life Chapel has one up on the north side of Lakeland.
Yep. And so I challenge you. I know mamas, a lot of those churches will scholarship your kids to be in sports. I know Upward at Lone Oak First Baptist, I think they do every single sport, and it's year round. Our church just does a basketball league for 2 months, but I think this Upward program, they do basketball, baseball, football, cheerleading, maybe volleyball. I don't know all the sports, but just challenging. That also gives you community, because you can connect with people too, in a church. So just some ideas.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And I think a good thing a single mother can do for a young man, because we are wired to be producers.
Yep.
And so putting weight of responsibility of expectations that they help contribute to the household, even in the middle school or high school, I think that is equipping them and empowering them to have some responsibility, some skin in the game, where you're not just providing everything for them, but they're saying, okay, man, I can do this. I can do more than what I think I'm capable of doing, whether it's taking out the trash or, changing out the filters, the air filters on the AC, just little responsibilities, and delegate those things to them, because delegation is development.
Amen.
And when you're delegating things, they're developing into the man that they need to be, that one day they'll be able to say, you know what, I can do this for my family one day, or my kids. And what that's going to do is continuously develop them as they're getting older and setting them up. I think that's huge for a mom to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, just as we are in schools giving these kids targets to aim for. If they don't have a target to aim for, they're not going to hit anything, right?
That's right.
And so just, reiterating what you just said, Jace, I think it's important. Moms, give your kids some tasks, give them a list of things to do. And if they obtain those tasks, they do what you ask them to do, reward them.
Yep.
Maybe reward them. Maybe it's an allowance of $5 a week, or maybe your son or daughter, they really want these new pair of shoes or this new outfit. If they can meet some of those objectives and duties and things that you have in the home, even if it's in their schoolwork or other things, bless them. And I think that'll help your children as well.
I think it's awesome. Yeah, if I could just share a little story. Our middle son, who's 12, he's in 7th grade. He's on the student council, and they're doing a trip to Washington, D.C. in February. And it's going to cost like $1,500. And Molly and I, we tasked Tucker. We said, hey, man, we want you to raise a portion of this. And, we didn't really put a dollar amount on it, but we said we really want you to run after this, because we feel like it's going to make that time in D.C. even that much better, that you earn some of it. So he made some flyers on his own. He passed them out to neighbors. And I swear he was raised over $1,000 in 3 months picking up rotten fruit that's falling off of people's trees, picking up poop. I mean, spray painting chairs,
That's horrible.
doing mulching people's flower beds, mowing lawns. I mean, and he did that on his own. And the other day he was like, Dad, I'm going to be the only one that didn't have their parents pay the whole entire thing like I actually paid for it. And I said, Tucker, you're going to have so much more fun knowing that you actually earned that opportunity to do that.
Put a lot of skin in the game. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's crazy.
Proud of him.
Crazy. I'm so proud. So
That's
proud.
awesome.
Good job, Dad.
But I mean, like that. I mean, don't be scared to put more on your kids.
Pressure produces.
Yes.
It produces.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think with that too, a nice little caveat. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
If
good.
you were
Go
going to say something. Was just that, you know, don't in your head expect them to do chores or responsibilities if there hasn't been like some expectations laid in the household of, hey, this is how we do, you know, you, your brother, your sister, or if it's just a son, you know, we in this house, we all pull our weight.
Yeah.
Because if you don't set those expectations, unspoken expectations become premeditated resentments where they're now going to resent you because they don't understand the why behind why you're wanting them to do all these things and how it's going to develop them into who you're trying to hopefully, you know, help them grow and mature into as a young man. And so set those expectations clearly so that there's no resentment from your child.
That's good.
Yep. And parents, you got to remember what you do in moderation. Your kids are going to do in excess. And what you do every day in your home, you're creating a model for your children. You know, that's what they're going to do when they get older.
That's
most
right.
likely.
100%.
Yep.
Another thing I think is being humble. And when I say that, I mean being willing to be a learner. I think a lot of people, young students, young adults, young men, think they have it all figured out. And the problem with that is when you have a coach that's investing in them, when you have a teacher that's investing in them, they're not going to receive it well if they're not humble about it and willing to learn. I honestly, for me, staying in that learning mentality is what has helped me to continue to soak, you know, not only knowledge in, but wisdom in. And we have to always be humble enough to put yourself into that position. And as a young man, that's important.
That's really good.
Yep. I really do think that.
What happens if you're the GOAT?
You can still learn.
That's true.
You can still learn.
Aren't you better than Messi?
I wish. I wish I could get that paycheck. That crazy amount.
You know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So
Here's a great verse, too, just to go along with some things you guys mentioned earlier. Is Proverbs 4, verses 23. Guard your hearts above all else, for it determines the course of your life.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and if you look at all the things we've been talking about today, you know, the heart is literally the most important thing.
yep.
You know, and I think that's important for everybody to think about. You know, my life verse is, you've heard it before, around the campfire Bible studies podcast, probably Jeremiah 29:13. You shall seek me and find me when you give me all your heart. If you have a heart for the Lord and you're seeking God, you better make sure your heart's in the right spot. You know, you better make sure your heart is after godly things, not after worldly things.
Yep.
So if it's after worldly things, you're going to create worldly habits. If it's after godly things, you're going to create God habits.
Right.
Yep.
It's good.
So funny things, I had Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight.
Yep, I love that one.
Yep.
It's always a sweet one.
Lean not on your own understanding.
Lean not on your own understanding.
Proverbs is such an amazing book.
It
Just
is.
full of wisdom.
Yeah, how powerful is that for a single mom? Because leaning not on your own understanding, they don't have the understanding of being a male
There you go.
and just the programming that comes behind it and a mindset. And so that is why it's important to have your son or your daughter in a mentorship group, especially your son, obviously, because they're trying to become a man. But it's hard for you to pour into that cup if you're not equipped yourself with with that wiring or that mindset and those tools, which is, I mean, that's not how God created you to be. I think you can do many of those things and exemplify a lot of it as far as consistency and humbleness, and you can do all that stuff as a mom, but there is going to be some things and conversations that it's going to be hard for a mom to have at certain stages and ages of a young man's life. And so for them to become men, as we talked about, with
Yep.
a vision and standing firm in what they believe in their faith and acting like men and being
Yep.
strong and doing all things in love. That has to come from a cup that is filled with those things. And obviously that first starts with Jesus, but then in a community as well.
That's good. That's real good. I think. What about developing a heart of gratitude? You know, so 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18. Always be joyful. Never stop praying. Be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus, right? Like, I don't think we ever go into a school and kids say, I love school. Everybody says, I hate school. So trying to get kids to understand, like, it's not just about math, English, science, you know, those are core classes that you have to learn, right, to be able to graduate. But what are the areas that we can be grateful and thankful for?
Yep.
You know, every kid says it's my teacher's fault, or my teacher didn't put the grades in, or this teacher doesn't like me. But trying to get those kids to understand that each of those teachers, a lot of them are married, a lot of them have kids, a lot of them have things going on at home, and being grateful, you know, for the opportunity to be able to sit under, you know, people that are different than them, and to learn from people that are different than them. And so a heart of gratitude, I think, is a big one that you know, whether you're a single mom or parents that are listening, I mean, being able to teach that. I do my best to do that to our kids, and my kids call me out on it sometimes. Trust me, there's days that I'm stressed and tired, and I don't come home with a very grateful attitude, and so even my kids remind me at times too. So,
Yep. I think we have to remind ourselves too, we are not the center of our own universe. You know, and I think sometimes we get that mentality in life, like we are, you know, it's God is the center of the universe, you know. And, you know, and I believe if we are to give him glory in all things, you know, we're not to be the ones to take the glory.
that's right.
And I think sometimes if our habits in our life are revolved around our personal agenda and our personal life, I mean, we miss the boat, you know. And so I think we just have to remind ourselves, like, everything we do in every aspect of our life, you know, it's not for us. It's his universe, not ours.
That's right.
And we're not supposed to take it, you know.
Yep.
And, you know, it's tough. I mean, I know, you know, you think about our life every day. I mean, you think about most adults and most kids, you know, most kids are in school. You know, they may have some extracurricular activity, sports. Most adults are in a full-time job, you know, so it's easy for your identity, you know, to come in that career. And then when we're home and the chores and things are done around the house, what do a lot of us do? And I think, I'll be honest, I think it's been a battle for me in seasons, has been to pick up our phones and to, you know, to go to Fox News, to go to MLB, you know, to go to Instagram, to go to Facebook, to go to Newsmax, to go to Telegram, you know. And I think you think about how much time, you know, we spend, you know, on looking at that stuff, and it's become a bad habit, you know. And I think that can affect us from being our best. I think it can affect a young man to be that masculine man and that warrior for God. You know, I think we can be distracted, you know. It can be a big distraction, but it's great. When we grew up, guys, man, we didn't have no cell phones and technology. We talked about it on the last podcast, and I think that's destroying a lot of young men from being tough dudes today.
We know it is.
They're not out there getting dirty, and they're not doing stuff outside. They're not hanging out. I mean, you know. Yep. It's it blows my mind just what's in the hands of technology today.
Yeah.
You know, when you were naming all that stuff, the word that popped into my head was consuming, you know, being a consumer.
Yeah.
You know, I think the world just wants us to consume and consume and consume and consume, because then when we hear a verse, you know, like Proverbs 3:5-6, it's hard for us to trust the Lord because we're leaning on what we think is our own understanding, but it's really what we've been consuming. And so
it becomes our world, not God's world.
That's exactly right. And I think young men, you know, they have to learn what it means to not be a consumer, but to be, you said a little while ago, a servant, you know, and pouring out, because as husbands, as fathers, as ministry leaders, as business owners, as employees, I mean, you know, there's so many places that we're called to serve and to pour out. And the more you consume, I just think the less you are able to serve.
Yep.
You know?
And it's so important to have godly community. Important for single moms to have a single mom community, be in a single mom's community group. It's important for a kid to be in a mentorship group, with godly men, or to be in a youth group. It's important to have those things.
Yep.
Because if you're not getting that connection with Christ, with godly people, then where are you going to get it from? Kids are on social media. Why are they on there? Because they get likes.
Yeah.
They get a heart. They get a thumbs up. People start looking down and say, hey, they said this and this and this about me. But what are they doing? Well, one, most kids in America don't have a dad in the home, right? There's no dad in the home. So what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're trying to get affirmation.
Yep.
They're trying to get liked. They're trying to, and they're not getting it in the home from a parent. They're not getting it from a mentor. And so that's that's why it's important that we encourage you, mamas, to get your kids in a church, to get your kids plugged in an upward sports program, to get them around godly men, and men that are fathers in homes set a great example.
That's right.
Have these one-on-one conversations with your kid. Teach them how to make that hamburger on the grill. Teach them how to do all these things that we talked about, that are guy things, and it's a blessing. If you're a father and that child is in your home, man, enjoy being a father.
Don't waste time.
Don't waste time, because time flies. And I had talked to my Gracie. She's in college now. And we got to take a vacation back in early October, and it's just interesting. Even seeing people at the collegiate level today. Just was like, I don't know all these platforms. There's one called Snapchat, and it's about people connecting with one another. But I guess if they connect for like 3 days in a row or something, what is that called? It's like a...
Don't look at me. I have no
A
idea.
streak.
It's called a streak. I didn't know what a streak. I thought a streak was something in your underwear. I didn't know.
Well, for you it is. Not for everybody though.
Back in my
what is a
days.
streak?
There's something else you can teach your
odd thing.
boys.
Back
Thing
in
to
my
say.
days,
But if you think about that, is that healthy?
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Is a streak healthy? I mean, like
No,
kids
it's horrible.
kids' minds are going like drawn to social media to get like connections and affirmation and hearts and likes, and that's we only need to get that from God and Christ's community, and fellowship with one another. We don't need to get it off the internet.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I've actually, now that I hear you guys say that word streak, I've actually seen boys at the
Yeah.
lodge say,
Hey,
I
I
can't
need
give you
my
my
phone.
phone because I'm going to
Yeah.
lose my streak. And I'm like, you're about to hang out with humans, like in person, like
Yeah.
4 other boys and other men. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean? What's the streak? That's crazy. Yeah.
The Bible app has a streak feature on it too.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. I like that
streak.
streak,
Maybe
though.
goes in sports a little bit. You're on a good streak. You're winning.
Yeah.
But I hear more winning than streak in sports.
Yeah.
But it's wild, man. It's just I think some of these that we're talking about, keeps a young man from being a warrior.
Exactly.
Yeah. That these kids don't need to be hooked on all this internet, social media platform stuff.
Yeah.
I know it can be a great tool to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. There are some great tools, but we just got to put it in the right perspective.
Yeah, and I think too, I think young men, especially from a broken home, are going to be really hardened emotionally. And so teaching them healthy ways of knowing it's okay to cry. Jesus wept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. The world will teach us that men are not allowed to cry, that men do not show emotions. That especially if you grow up in the South, like men don't cry, you don't cry, and that's the farthest from the truth. I think God wants us to show our emotions, obviously in a healthy way. We can't lash out, and so exemplifying how that is, and even if your son is having a meltdown, give him a hug, just hug him. Tell them it's okay. Talk through it. Pray through it. Set that example. But teaching healthy emotions is such an overlooked tool in the tool bag of if any man or woman learning how to navigate our emotions well.
Yep. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that, but I was thinking the same thing. Like, it's okay for a young man to not be happy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because for a parent, their thing is to make sure their kid's always happy.
Yeah.
Make sure they're always joyous. Make sure they have the joy
Happiness
of the Lord.
is temporary. Joy is
happiness
sustaining.
is temporary.
Yeah.
So it's okay if they're not happy. It's okay if they don't have their phone and they're upset. It's okay if
the Bible doesn't say you're supposed to be happy.
But
joyous.
Happy's not always
Paul
wisdom.
said, "Rejoice."
I'd rather have
always.
wisdom.
Always
I'd
be
rather have
Again, I
wisdom.
tell you, rejoice.
Yeah, and that goes back with the gratitude as well.
And he was in chains when he was writing.
That's right.
Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to also put out is you're growing a young man to be a leader. of their home. That's the thing we need to understand. That's the urgency behind it, is we're growing a young man to be a leader of his wife, his children, his grandchildren. Like, he's going to be the one that is being taught right now, but he's going to eventually become the teacher. And that's the urgency of it. And we're talking about years. I mean, most of the kids we get, they're 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
They're about to be 18, and then eventually they get married, and they become the leader of their home, and that's they have to know these things that you're trying to teach them to teach to the next generation. So that's the urgency.
Yep. What you hang around is what you become. Is an old saying, and those out there, if your language is bad, if language is bad, those around you gonna say bad things. Excuse me.
It's all good.
It's the streaks. Getting to them.
If you drink, your kids are gonna drink.
Yeah,
If you get covered in tattoos, your kids are gonna get loaded down with tattoos.
that's true. It's true.
Yeah, I think,
Nothing wrong with tattoos, but
everything that we've talked about really comes under that first pillar of being watchful, which really means men have to have a vision for their
that's
life.
good.
If they don't know what they're aiming at in life, and they don't know what their target is, if they don't know that, hey, I know the vision for my life is that I want to be a godly man, I want to have a healthy marriage, I want to be a good father, I want to be a provider, I want to be a team player, I want to have healthy emotions, I want to be dirty, I want to be gritty, all these things. If they don't know how to aim at that target, they're not going to know how to hit the mile markers to reach that goal in their life. And so they've got to have a vision. If the vision doesn't start, but you're only going to get a vision, a true godly vision, if you first have your identity in Christ. And so a godly man, a young man, to be true godly masculinity, they're going to have, it has to start with the identity. And if they are living in your house, you can literally make them go to church. Don't give them an option. It's not their choice. Get them in God's word. The devil's going to fight to keep them out, and you're probably getting some spiritual warfare if they're giving you pushback about going to church because they think this or they think they're going to be judged. No. The only opinion that matters is God's opinion of who God says that we are. And he says it, our identity is not fatherless. Our identity is not worldly. Our identity is not an athlete or just a worker. He says our identity first is a child of God. And then as we become a child of God, we grow into men of God. I love the Bible verse that says, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they get older, they will not depart of it. We are not trying to raise great children. We are trying to raise great men, right? And so that's the product that we're trying to raise, whether you've got a healthy marriage or you're a single mom. So,
Amen.
That's awesome.
that's good. Well, thank y'all for listening today to this podcast. I do want to share something that would be a huge blessing. We came up with some new IAM gear, kind of a new logo. I've got one of the T-shirts on. Jace is wearing a camo hat. We'll have them in different camo patterns. Here's a black one. So it's kind of cool. It has a kind of a vintage feel. Kind of looks a little bit like the old Red Man Chew logo from back in the 70s and 80s. But we got some really nice, real soft cotton shirts, really cool hats. But we would love for you. It would be such a blessing to the ministry if you guys would buy a hat or buy a shirt. And you can buy these hats and shirts on our website. The hats and shirts are $30 each. And they cost us a little bit of money, but that $30 will help our ministry go a long way. And so we ask you on Instagram that's following us on YouTube.
or even
Facebook.
in the show notes on this, we can put a link to the show
That'd be
notes.
the way to do it.
Yeah. Yep. And so you'll be able to go get those online at idolsaside.com, and it'll be such a blessing. We appreciate it. It's pretty cool. You know, when you wear that IAM logo, you know, you can pray for all those kids and mamas in our ministry that we're serving and loving. And when people look at these hats and shirts, they're going to ask a question. What is that? Where did that shirt come from? You know, and you can say, hey, this is a ministry that I support, and this is a ministry that I pray for. And they're in a lane that's pretty deep and pretty thick. And so we thank you.